WWE superstar may have been released while currently in the middle of a storyline. Plus, we're going to talk about a WWE superstar who has re-signed with the company and a WWE legend who is now working for other companies. It's all coming up right here on The Ango Show.
Yes.
All right, I want to kick things off. Let's talk about John Bradshaw Layfield. You guys may have seen him out and about recently. GCW, AAA, Lucha Libre, and of course, now most recently TNA. He's been showing up. John Bradshaw Layfield, not using the JBL name or the gimmick, but instead he is showing up in the other companies. And a lot of people were wondering how this is happening because he is technically under a WWE Legends deal. And PW Insider actually went on to clarify that he is in fact under a Legends deal. WWE can book him for appearances in the company. However, he is free to also work for other promotions as long as he is not using the JBL gimmick that WWE owns. This is the reason why he's been referred to as John Layfield or John Bradshaw, but not JBL or John Bradshaw Layfield. One of the biggest things too is that PW Insider has clarified that WWE sources indicated that they have no issue with him doing these appearances anywhere else. Basically, you know, we don't know what it's really going to turn into. We saw him confront Dolph Ziggler recently on TNA. I said Dolph Ziggler, but obviously I mean Nick Nemeth. What's the purpose of this? Why is WWE cool with it? Guys, I think WWE is becoming a lot more lenient about things like this. Also, I wouldn't be shocked if he did, in fact, use the John Bradshaw Layfield gimmick. The JBL gimmick is notorious. Obviously, it has a strong history in WWE. And with WWE just being so cool working with other promotions, regardless, I would not be shocked if we were to see it happen. But I do want to talk about this for a second because it feels like, you know, people that were under Legends deals were able to do non-televised stuff. And I don't know when this changed or any other examples, but JBL being on AAA, Lucha Libre, being on TNA, being in GCW, it's not like he's necessarily working indie events. I mean, he's technically working TV shows. So WWE clearly has a change of heart in how they do this type of stuff. But for WWE, look, the way that I look at this is JBL, he shows up from time to time as a commentator or like a guest on the kickoff panels or whatever. But other than that, he's not really integrated into WWE TV. At some point, you know, they might bring him in for a special cameo or whatever it may be. We saw him do some stuff with Baron Corbin, but for the most part, JBL is not an active performer for WWE. And I think for WWE to be able to make money and monetize off of him, it's a smart thing. That's why Legends deals are great. That's why people are signing Legends deals. But WWE not being as restrictive, I think, is also a good thing because, listen, he's a legend. At the end of the day, he's not using his WWE gimmick, but if you want him to, it could ultimately lead back to people just being interested in WWE's product. And again, TKO is a whole different other beast than what it was before. Let's turn our attention to Asuka. It appears that Asuka has signed a new long-term deal with the WWE, at least according to PW Insider. They did report today that she signed a new long-term deal. However, the terms of this deal have not been disclosed. You got to keep in mind that Asuka's been out with an injury. She's recovering from a knee injury. She has not wrestled since Backlash. You know, we know that she went through surgery early in May. We know that she's been taken off TV because of the injury. I really didn't even know that she was coming out of contract, to be honest, which I think is really more fascinating because so many people, you know, you tend to hear so many stories, and I feel like Fightful probably does it the best when it comes to like updates regarding contracts, but I had no idea that Asuka was coming out of contract, and the fact that she could have potentially become a free agent or maybe even already hit free agency is pretty interesting. But Asuka is one of my favorites. I mean, what she did in NXT was incredible. I feel like under Vince McMahon's regime, it was hit or miss. Sometimes it was good, sometimes it was bad. But I feel like Triple H handles Asuka incredibly well. And, you know, Damage Control is a great group. I've already talked about this so many times between my main channel and the second channel. But anytime somebody locks down a long-term deal with a company, it's always a good thing. You know, they're getting paid. What's interesting is that WWE decided to re-sign her despite the injury. So clearly WWE has some sort of plans for when she returns to television. We don't know exactly what that may be, when that may be, I should say. But listen, this is the way I look at it. Asuka's fantastic talent. She's integrated nicely into America. She lives in America. I don't know if you guys ever watch her content on YouTube, but she makes really great content, and I just think she's super talented in the ring. She's a great character. It would have been interesting to see what modern day Asuka would do maybe in AEW, but that doesn't even seem like a possibility, or it didn't even seem like a possibility before. Probably had zero consideration for that. I don't know. I don't know if WWE, had her under a deal and then maybe had an option to extend it or whatever it may be. But a long-term deal for Asuka, it's a huge thing for WWE. They just brought in Julia. They brought in Stephanie Vaquer. Delta's coming in. They're beefing up the women's division in NXT. And then what's really cool is when you have vets like Asuka on the main roster, you're going to have some really special matches. And I think that is really cool overall. I'm excited about that. One thing that is interesting to me, Odyssey Jones may have been released by the company. I swear I have no idea what the hell is going on. Wrestling fans have noticed on WWE.com that Odyssey Jones was removed from the WWE.com roster page. However, what's really interesting is that he wasn't even moved to the alumni section, which is simply that's like the most telling thing when somebody gets released. They get moved to alumni. That hasn't happened yet. And what's even crazier to me is that Sean Ross Sapp put out a tweet, and he was sent a message about looking into it. WWE sources have not commented on this. Nobody really knows if he's been released or if his contract has ended. Nobody knows if if he quit WWE. Nobody literally knows what the hell is happening here. And then the one thing that makes it even more intriguing is Xavier Woods came out with a tweet, and he just simply posted, "Ain't got nothing to do with me." And the reason why I find this fascinating is because Odyssey Jones has obviously been tied into the storyline with Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, and it's a storyline that is currently happening and unfolding every Monday night. So what the hell is happening here? Is WWE trying to throw people off? Are they trying to make a storyline out of this? I have no idea. Quite frankly, I like Odyssey Jones. I feel like he's been picking up steam, which would be a really weird time for him to be released from the company because of the fact that he's actually getting reactions. People really are liking him, and I've well documented there was a lot of. I didn't have high expectations for him coming into the WWE main roster because very little experience, not really being seen on NXT, been drafted, not being utilized. But the storyline with Xavier Woods and Kofi in the Final Testament, it ended up getting him reactions, and I think people were intrigued by him. So the fact that he's been removed from the WWE.com website, it's very, very strange, and it's very odd, and it's really crazy to think that maybe he has been released, but for some reason nobody knows why. Definitely something to pay attention to, and obviously I'll keep you guys updated as more comes out about it.